Welcome to this episode of the Comedy Defect podcast. My name is Winter, I'm a comedian, and this is my show. Those that are new to the show, welcome. Those that are old to the show, thanks for coming back, guys. This is a very special episode because we've reached the 100th episode of the Comedy Defect podcast. I didn't think we'd ever get here, guys. We had a sabbatical halfway through because I needed to take a bit of time out. But those of you listening from the start, thank you for holding on. I really do appreciate you listening. I don't know how many more I'm going to do after this, but we've reached 100, and that was, I said 500, but you know what, right? I didn't realize how much work it would be to keep a podcast going for 100 episodes. But this episode is an excellent episode with a guy that's been described by Chortle as a club-ready comic, and I think he was described by Bruce Desso as, in a world of wannabes, Ali Woods is the real deal. He's an absolutely excellent comic. I've seen him at my gig. He opened and he could have easily closed that, no problem. So promoters out there, if you're looking for an excellent comic, Ali Woods he's brilliant. So go and check him out. He also does a podcast called All I Do Is Fail, and he does that with Tom Elwes. And that's where you can find all your podcasts everywhere on the internet. And I'm not going to say any more because he's an excellent comic, but it's a real special episode and a real special interview that I really enjoyed spending an hour or so with Ali. You can find us, I'm on Twitter as well. I'm on all the social medias as @WinterDominus. And you can find this podcast, we're on Facebook. You can go and like the page. And you can also, if you like the podcast enough, if you want to donate, you can. Go to Patreon, type in The Comedy Defect Podcast. I'll donate as little or as much as you feel this podcast is worth. Who knows? I might get to 500 if you start donating more. But I'm not going to say any more. All I'm going to say is that this is the 100th episode with an excellent comic. If you ever see him on a bill, go and check him out because he's absolutely brilliant and he's absolutely smashing at the moment. He won Hackney New Comedian of the Year 2020. I'm not going to say any more. I'm going to let him do the talking. This is Ali Woods for episode 100. Enjoy.
Good to hear your voice, Winter, man. It's been a while.
How's things going?
They're all right, man. They're what's going on in the world? They're pretty decent. So not complaining. How have you been, man?
I've been fine, man. Up and down, mate. Up and down. Yeah. You know, this is it. Been seeing a lot of your stuff online, mate. You've been smashing it online as well.
Oh, gee, well, I don't know about smashing it, but it's in November. I just tried to treat it like gigging, do it regularly. And, not be too bothered. You know what it's like when you're gigging. You got to keep going up. If you have 2 bad gigs in a row, you don't stop for a month. So I just thought I'll take that attitude into making videos. Yeah, it's just the quantity over quality approach. Seems to get some more views, which is nice. And then you hope the quality catches up.
Mate, that's the thing is, right, it's like the blunderbuss of like just putting stuff out there, isn't it? Really, just fucking fire, keep fucking firing, and it'll fucking get somewhere eventually.
That's the plan. The worst thing you can do is stop, or you just keep repeating the same thing. You know, you always try stuff, experiment, see how it goes, but you got to keep trying stuff, keep doing stuff. Have we started the podcast, by the way?
Yeah, man, this is it. We're in.
Wow.
This is it, mate. Smooth, seamless. Mate. That's it. We started. We're already on it. Like, that's it. That's been great.
Oh, man. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks for the time. Have a good one.
Tell me about you, and that's it. Comedians go, yeah, fine, okay, right. I might be able to squeeze it into an hour.
Yeah, but comedians would be like, that's what, wouldn't they? Well, I guess, where does my story start? I guess I sort of told my first joke in the crib, I think.
Yeah. I've started smiling, made everyone smile, and they smiled back. So, just mirroring the audience straight away. I mean, I had my crowd, and I knew who they were, exactly. And they knew who I was.
Just had an affinity for each other. You know what I mean? Some people are born for the stage. But it's genuinely great to hear your voice, man.
Yeah, man. Like, this is really.
I hope you are doing okay.
It's become like more of a check-in. Really, it's not really a podcast anymore. It's like, how you getting on? Are you still alive? Is everything? Are you having you having some dark thoughts? I mean, yeah, me too. I mean, it's just basically I've become Samaritans of podcast kind of like world at the moment. It's
we need weird. Them. We need them, man. And comedians is a good place to start. If you're looking for lost souls, if you're looking for unfulfilled people, then comedians is a good place. Yeah. I like as well how it's just volumes going up and down as well. So it feels like some sort of paranormal horror I'm in. Just hearing this voice talking about my mental health. Just be like, yeah, I guess I'm doing well. Well, not really, no.
Well, I mean, look, man, look, fuck it. Like, I got to say this, man. You were Hackney Empire new act of the year 2020. Fuck me. Talk about a bad year, but like you fucking pulled it out of the bag with that, didn't you?
Got it in time, man.
Mate.
I was very happy we were able to. It's the largest crowd I've ever performed to, which isn't good. Which isn't a good place to start with coronavirus. But yeah, man, and I assume they're not doing it this year. So what can I say? 2 years running, I'll take it. I've never won any of these competitions before. I've had some success in competitions. And I will just say this from the start as well. Competitions in comedy and in most things are redundant. They're ways for people to get noticed if you fulfill the agenda and the type of comedy that the people who run the competition are looking for. Yeah. And you can get to the final, and the industry people normally go to the final of these things. They don't go to any heats or quarterfinals or anything like that. Can't be asked. But the final, they're like, yeah, go on then, I'll expense this. So they go to that, so that's good. And so, I always had ambitions to do well in competitions. I remember starting out and thinking, that's a big thing that you have to do. You see these famous people, or famous to you anyway, when you're coming up, people are talking about it, and they're like, these just got nominated for this award, and these just won this award, and blah, blah. And they're like the kings, and especially when you start comedy and you see on Facebook every month someone else is posting, I've just won Southeastern Comedian under 25 non-binary of the year, and you're like, oh man, I should have won that. Like, totally. Damn me and my being, like identifying as a gender, you idiots. You know what I mean? Like, there's always some category someone will win. And you just and everyone's winning everything, and you just think, I'm so rubbish at comedy. I'm so shit.
Take your hammer to limbs, like kind of going, look, I am disabled. Look, I am disabled now. Look, I've got a broken knee. It counts, right? It doesn't count. But you did it yourself, Winter. Yeah, I know, but come on.
Doesn't that mean I won it? And that is obviously nothing to discredit non-binary or disabled comedians at all. But there's always a million categories for every single competition. And you also have people who they have a great 10-minute set and they sweep the competitions for a year. They just win everything, or they're in the final of everything, and they just smash it in 1 year. And but this is a long-term game. It doesn't matter to anything. So going into that Hackney Empire one, I mean, I also think it's sort of a competition for people who are on top of their admin. So that's what helped me as well, because there's no sort of really great entry process. They don't really advertise it at all. You just get told by a mate, oh, by the way, the Hackney Empire thing's open again. And then you're like, right, send in an email. Yeah. And then they're like, right, come down to this, the first heat. The heats, right? Have you done the Hackney Empire?
No, I haven't done that one yet.
Yeah, write it down. And I will say, so it says new comedian. I think the only rules are, doesn't matter how long you've been going for. And also it's variety as well. So it doesn't have to be strictly stand-up at all. But it's supposed to be funny in some way, and you can be going for as long as you want, but you have to not be signed. That's the rule. Yeah. So you can enter whenever you want. You go down to this heat, and it is tough. Right? Yeah. It is. It's you, the other acts. It's open mic vibes, 100%. You, the other acts. Precious little audience. The judges, and then a bloke who has been, I assume, been with the people for years and years and years. Yeah. He doesn't do any material. He comes on with a dog.
Right. Literally a dog.
Literally a dog. Not a stuffed dog, not a ventriloquist dog. Right. Like a dog. And goes, right, we got these acts here. Hackney Empire is a great institution, and we're doing some stuff. So I'm just going to introduce the acts, and this is my dog. Yeah. And he's lovely. Right, the first X is on, looks down at this piece of paper, is Nushan Stevenson. And then and then they go, and off they go. And then, no one's getting anything. Because
they sound warm already. They sound really warm, ready to go. Like, the dog's there. I mean, just gave it lots of crowd work. That's brilliant. Problem is, 5-10 minutes in, everyone's like, let's get the dog back. No. So the dog was a laugh, wasn't it? So no one's getting anything, right? So you've just got to, but to be fair, what they do say in the judges, they say to you, right, it's not about whoever smashes it tonight or whatever. We just want to see your acts live. And then we're gonna pick. There's no two winners go through one night or whatever. It just is. They're just gonna pick from everyone who auditioned. They call it. Right. And then, fortunately, I was picked. And going into being in the final of one of these competitions is just fun. It's just because once you're there,
because you're just thinking going on a flyer of some comedy. You remember when you could do flyers? Remember when you could hand, what a luxurious life we lived in there, Winter. Do you remember when we could just hand out flyers to people and not worry about potentially killing them?
So transferring of viruses through fucking contact of any kind. We're getting those grabbers now. To kind of hermetically sealed fucking container. It's going to slow down the flyering process in Edinburgh so much. It's going to be like, look, can you just hang on? I'm waving at people. Can I just give you a flyer?
Yeah, exactly. Through this chamber, exactly.
That's right. Just walking through here. God, this is expensive, these flyers, isn't it? Fuck me, man. That's it. Biodegradable.
You're definitely going to come to the show, yeah? We'll see. That flyer cost me 45 quid.
Just one flyer. They fuck it in the bin straight away.
Exactly. They just put it in the bin. Gets decontaminated again. Put it in the bin.
This is not gonna. This is just making the 1% of comedy just way more just successful, isn't it? Because you're like, okay, great. Anyone that's just struggling to just get to Edinburgh, and stay in a fucking hovel somewhere, and then they got to fucking do all these hermetically sealed flyers in a fucking incubator, is gonna just we're gonna miss out, mate. This is what it's gonna be terrible.
Who's got the biggest disinfectant budget? That's what it's about. It's antibacterial. Yeah, you can buy your PR and your venue and all that, but how much antibacterial gel have you got? That'll be the winners. If you get to the final, because you're just thinking, right, if you get to the final, then you're in the mix to win it, yes, but you're also just there in front of people that might be able to help you in comedy, and you just think, I could stick this on a flyer, or my, what it's like having a comedy CV. You just want to see things.
You've already put it on your website before. Finalist, it's on there.
Exactly.
It's done.
Copy and paste it from the email as you open it onto the website.
You've got your Iron Man tattoo already. It's like, yeah, I've got it. It's there. Look, see? It's my CV on my arm. Look, fuck it. No one can take that away from me.
I've done it. Exactly, yeah. That's exactly it. But then obviously you realise as you do comedy longer that these finalists of blah, 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 and it doesn't matter. It just matters about getting booked regularly and getting out to places and just getting better. You think, oh, well, now I'm the finalist of North London's under 25s regional performing as a handstand.
The size 8 shoe.
Whilst playing a musical instrument that can't be made from wood. Will I now get booked to the Comedy Store? And the Comedy Store are like, no, you won't. So as you go on, as you know, Winter, people just want to see where else you're gigging, and then you get gigs.
Sorry, we have those questions with you see comics, you haven't seen how you doing, and you kind of oh man, what do you got coming up? And I genuinely interested, right? And I asked this to one person the other day, any good stuff coming up? And he said, no. What have you? And he took it really personally, and you're just
he was annoyed. And he was annoyed that you asked the question.
Yeah, I wasn't being. I was just generally. I'm like, maybe it's my face, man. I'm just look like I'm being sarcastic and patronizing. I said no, I was dude, I was asking, and then he turned it on me, and I was like, man, I was just actually asking, how, because we all looking forward to fun things, right? Not just I'm not trying to destroy you just by your self-esteem right now. God almighty, this became a fucking battle in a conversation. Cress Wetton was there, and she fucking saw this whole stuff go off, and I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? Because unfortunately I had nothing to parry with that was fucking decent enough to go, yeah, fuck you, I've got this coming up. I just wanted to go, slam, motherfucker, but it just didn't work that way.
That's funny. I can imagine just who asked like that, the idea that he thinks you're coming up to him going, so what have you got coming up? Nothing, I bet.
Mate, it just
who would ask that?
No, how fucking, who have you been talking to? And how horrific is your life that you expect everyone to attack you with every kind of word in the conversation? I was like, oh dude, it just became I keep thinking about it. It's one of those things, why did that happen? Was it me? I mean, how? I was just asking normal questions. No, I was like, no, that definitely wasn't me this time. But it's like, look, you've, as I say, look, you got into the final. Go on, I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off, man. You get into the final, and then you were and you're happy to be there. You got it on your CV, and now did something happen? Someone's leg fall off or something? Did someone fucking throw something at you? What happened? Come on, did any juice happen? What was he? Just smashed it, nailed it. I'm a winner now. Huh?
Well, Yeah, guilty as charged, really.
But is this going to ruin your whole style now? Because you've got a YouTube channel called I Fail, right? This is the podcast, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the podcast. All I do is fail. If you like podcasts, then you can get on that one as well as this one.
All you do is fail. So I mean, look, you have to hide this. Well, actually, I mean, technically, I mean, it's an irony thing. Irony is, I am Hackney new act of the year 2020.
Well, I mean, the good thing is I've got Tom Elwes there as well, the comedian I do with. So he brings the failure. So I'm sorted for that. But
it's yin and yang, great. It's like, oh.
The thing is, I always make these sort of jokes to him because I think, oh, it's a bit of banter, and then he does eventually go, "Yo, can you stop doing that?" So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll take it. He's very successful, very funny comedian. If you want to check him out, Tom Elwes.
Great.
But yeah, man, all I do is fail brand. It's just, don't worry, we've got enough failures throughout our lives and my life particularly. Where for me, outside of the normal things of food, health, family, friends, there's three things in my life that really affect my mood. There's comedy, there's love life, and there's football, right? There's Man United results, right? Yeah. And never the three shall go well at the same time. Just doesn't happen. It's the rule that I have. Sometimes one goes well, sometimes two are going well at the same time, but never the three. So whenever I win an award like that, and I say whenever like I'm doing it all the time, the one time I won that award, I guarantee there was someone rejecting me romantically, or I made a fool of myself, or Man United got pumped 5-0 the next night. I guarantee that something was going on. So there's always.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad, it's the holy trinity of despair. I like that. It's great.
But yeah, man, like that gig though is one of my favorite gigs ever for obvious reasons. But you know what it's like. Did you ever get that in that mindset? It's the best mindset to be in. And unfortunately, it's really hard to do all the time. Because you do need to sort of have a care about it as well. But just before you go in a gig and you just think to yourself, I'm just going to go out and enjoy this. Do you ever have that? Yeah. And for me, they're often the best gigs. I mean, it needs to be certain time because, sometimes you're at a gig and it's awful and everyone's struggling and you're like, I'm not going to go out and enjoy this. And you're like, I just got to do my job, do the time, collect the money and go. But this one, there's it wasn't full. The Hackney Empire seats 1,200. It must have been maybe about 2/3 full.
Nice.
So you got maybe about 800 people. It's brilliant, 800.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and you're just seeing. And the good thing as well of doing comedy for a few years is I was in the final with mates.
Great.
With Adam Kumas, Rob Copland, Trevor Bickles, these people who I've come up with, and it's just great. Then seeing your mates do their sets that you've seen 50 times.
Yeah.
But to 10 times the laughter they normally get because you've got 10 times the audience and the laughter's just rising. And Joe Brand was emceeing it and Joe Brand's really cool and she was super nice backstage. And I was just like, there's no way I'm not going to go and enjoy this, man. Totally. I could just go and do my set. Just go and do my set and enjoy the laughter. And it's exactly what happened, man. And I was on a good time. And that's another thing with competition finals and all that sort of stuff. If you're on a good time, it just helps you massively if you want to win this stuff. Like I was middle of the second section. Everyone was warmed up and ready and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, man, it was one of the. I'd probably say one of the best nights of my life, to be fair.
Brilliant, man. That's
it. It's more just even if I'd not won that thing, which was obviously great to have done that, and nothing came of it. Like it's not helped me with regards to agents or anything, but just to have that night of being in there with your mates backstage, chatting. Everyone's nervous, obviously, and then when you just see everyone going out and doing well, and the crowd are lovely, and there's so many of them, and you just have that, and it's that you get those moments because we're all dream chasers in this business, and you get those moments where you just think briefly, just for a second, you're like, I'm living the dream.
Totally.
Did you ever get that one when you got all the crowd on side, and you just think, this is exactly what I set out to do.
Great, man. That's great. I love those moments of just like, you kind of like arrived in your own dream. You're in that moment, in that pocket of that whole thing. It's just like, you're like, oh God, this is as delicious as I hope this would be. And this is it right now. And I'm enjoying it rather than fretting over this moment. You know what I mean? That's great, man. Just going out there and enjoying it, man. And like with your mate, as you say, with your mates, man, that is the best thing in the world, right? That's it, having fun with your mates. That's the sort of like quickening, if you like, an old reference there. The Highlander thing is like, oh man, I've done it. I'm there. I'm at the top. It can't get better than this. I mean, there's only just gonna be more crowds and like just sort of like, different bills, but that is the same feeling you'll have in those gigs as well that are coming up, right? And to win it, what icing on the cake, right? Brilliant.
It was great, man. It was really good. And like that's the friend thing is such an important thing because because there's so much struggle in stand-up comedy, and you really need, whereas you're saying, like you mentioned someone as well, Cressida Weston, fantastic comic, and that is someone who's a face I see at a gig and I light up and I'm like, oh great, I can chat with Cress. And you need those people to go through the struggle with you, because you need support, man. Like,
absolutely,
you can't go through this as a lone ranger, just dying, you know, just going out and just, because for every moment where you think you're living the dream, there's like 10, 100 where you're like, this is shit. Like, this is so tough. You know, I am living joke to joke here. This woman's so angry at me. I've ruined this couple's evening. And you're just looking at these people and you're like, shit, man. And you just need other people to hang out with and go and laugh at it at the end. And just be like, do you remember when we both died at that pub out in, you know, some round at Sudley upon Shippenden or wherever the places we go and gig are? But, you know, you need that. And so to then have the reverse of that, where it felt like you're watching all your mates get their reward, like get their, you know, in Star Wars at the end of episode 4 where they go and get their medals. It felt like that, like, yes, like we did it, we're here. So yeah, man, it was really, really special.
That's brilliant. So like, how long have you been going, Ali?
So I did, my first ever gig was at uni back in 2014, stand up. But I started gigging regularly in 2015. So so that would have been, it's almost coming up to about 5.5 years from that time.
That's great.
Because I talk to people, and because I think there's the competitiveness about comedy. People always try and catch you out and be like, you going for longer, you're like, who's, or you know, or they like, you know, he's actually been going for longer, or she's actually been, stuff like that. And it's like, and then other people are like, well, I did my first gig, but then I didn't gig again for 2 years and stuff like that. And I think, well, it really starts for me when you every week you've got a gig, you know, and because otherwise it's like, you know, it's like your uncle telling you about that time they did belly dancing at their mate's wedding. It's like, you're not. I started my belly dancing career when I got up and got my top off at your cousin Steve's 30th. You know what I mean? It's not really like. So I've been doing it but September 2015. Got back to London and I was pretty miserable. I was living with my parents. I was lucky that I could get to live with my parents in London. And I thought, right, I enjoyed doing comedy, so I'm going to try and go out and gig.
What was it you were doing in college or university? Sorry.
I was like, how dare you, Winter? Add me into college. You believe it?
Sorry, college, because college is like, in Ireland is like the same as university.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's different. It's like, you know, we call college university and like, you know, that's it. There's no real college.
No, well, thank you for translating. thank you for being so receptive of an Englishman. It's rare. Appreciate it. I was.
I'm bringing it back, man. I'm bringing it back. 1-0. There we go. Right. So what were you doing? What are you doing in university?
I was doing English lit, English literature.
All right, nice.
And I picked that.
Fits.
Sorry?
It fits, doesn't it, really?
It's useful, in terms of like, writing and learning to write great amounts and learning some extra words. Therefore, might use that in a set one day. But yeah, it was good. I to be honest, I mean, I was very competitive. I went to a grammar school, right? So it was very competitive. It was all boys. It was free to get into, but it was very academic. So everyone was going uni. Everyone was going to really elite unis, Russell Group and Oxbridge and all that sort of stuff. I got rejected from my first 3 unis. I thought I was going to go Cambridge because I was like, oh, everyone's going Cambridge. And I was like, I'm really smart. I'll do that. And then Cambridge was like, no, you won't. And I was like, all right, cheers. Okay. And then 2 others were like, yeah, not here either, mate. And then so I ended up going York.
Right. Nice.
Didn't know anyone going there. Yeah, but York is so brilliant. York is such a lovely place. So beautiful. Wonderful place for a long weekend. If anyone can ever go, I'm hired by the York Tourist Board now to do podcasts, to go around the podcast circuit and just shout about it.
That's great.
No, I wish it'd be a good job. No, it's great. But to be honest, the English literature thing, I didn't do it because I was really excited about it. It was the out of my A levels. It was the subject I liked the most. Right. And then so I just applied for that. Thought, why not? But they had a great comedy society there. Really good at York, Comedy Sock. So before then, I'd never performed comedy on stage. Yeah. And then when I got there, I was like, they've got this comedy society. I'll definitely join that because I'm interested in that. And that's a great privilege about uni, like a really lovely thing about college, is that you can go to these places. You can sort of reinvent yourself or take part in whatever you want. Yeah. It's lovely. They've got community for all sorts. And then they were really great at comedy stock, and I'm still friends with people from there. And that's why I started doing improv comedy.
Oh, nice.
Which was really super fun. Loved improv, loved just the chaos of it and the quickness of it. Brilliant. And then that's when I did my first stand-up gig. Because again, it always coincides with, I was at a low point in my second year at uni. I thought I was wasting my life. And I thought, what's something I can do? And I made a list of things I can do that would cheer me up. And not cheer me up as in, eat a bag of Maltesers. As in, I thought something.
Goals and shit.
A goal, exactly. Yeah. Something to achieve. If at the end of this uni I could do only a couple of things, what would I? So I wrote down a list. On this list as well, because I'd broken my leg and the doctor had told me I could never play football again. And I love playing football. So he told me I could never run again, basically. He was like,
did you ligaments or something as well? Or?
So I got, I'm such an idiot, right? So I hurt my leg at uni. And before, when I was playing football during my school days, I had some problems with my hamstrings and stuff. And it was like growing pains and stuff. So so I hurt my leg playing football. This was at the tryouts. Can you imagine what a dweebish thing to happen? What an absolute nerd. Like at the soccer tryout, I hurt my leg.
Did you actually have braces as well?
The headgear braces, those ones.
Oh no, mate.
With big thick glasses. Being like, you hit the ball too hard.
A little the helmet, the whole lot, mate.
Exactly. My mom says I've got to wear goggles. That sort of
gum shield in, the whole lot. Like, not cool. Brilliant.
So I hurt my leg at the trials. It swelled up, but I thought, hey, look, I know what this is. It's the hamstring thing. So I was like, I'll just walk it off. I kept walking off for months. Too long to be walking something off. I should have gone to the doctors eventually. My mum, I was calling my mum and she was like, you've got to go get this checked out. I was like, fine. So I went, got it checked out, and they said, all right, we'll need an x-ray. I was like, drama, I know what this is. Just a bit of an ice pack, I'll be all right. So they said, the break is here. And I was like, what are you talking about? It's like, you've got an inch of bone floating around your knee. And I went, really? And they went, you can feel it. And they put my hand on it and I could feel this thing. It was gross. It was like it was like you'd lost, when something's under the carpet, like a little screw or something like that. It felt like that. And so they went, right, we got to have keyhole surgery, get that out, and then try and start a microfracture. So basically they're like, I lost, cartilage around the bottom of my femur. Right. And so had physiotherapy. The physiotherapy constituted, get this right, so Wednesday mornings, and look, I'm first year uni, man. I'm 19 years old. I'm living la vida loca, as they say. I'm pretty sure in the early noughties at karaoke bars. So I'm pretty with it, Winter. And they're like, right, you've got to go regular physiotherapy for your knee, and it's going to be Wednesday mornings at 8:30 a.m. at York Hospital. So I'm like, great, okay. So I'm getting up luckily it was the summer, so it wasn't really awful. But I'm getting up at 7:45 a.m. My mates are coming back from their night out at this point.
That's right.
I'm there and I'm like, all right, guys, see you later. And then I stupidly, it sounds a bit weird. I walked 40 minutes to the to the physiotherapy, which doesn't sound like a good thing. I was an idiot.
You're like,
then I get there.
You're a machine in it. That age. You're like, it doesn't matter. It's okay. Look.
Oh yeah, 19. You serious?
Yeah, I'll just get a few beers on the way. It'll be fine.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, loosen me up for the physio. Stretch more, because a lot of stretching's believing. Winter, you just got to believe you can reach that. Got that Dutch courage to stretch.
I'm gonna think the bus earlier than it actually says on the timetable, right? I know.
I'll run a bus. Are you kidding me? See how slow those get all those old people on it? Strip them, no problem.
That sheer confidence you have at that age is brilliant, isn't it? I love it.
Exactly. Smash physio, all day breakfast, into the pub, jobs are good. So I get there, right? And you can imagine and York, if you've never been, is a lovely small city in the north. So I get to York Hospital for 8:30 a.m. Wednesday, knee physiotherapy, and who do you think's there? But just the northern grandmas, the grandmas of the north. Everyone's over 70. Everyone's looking at me like, you're too young to be here. What are you doing here? And I'm like, hey, grandma, leave it, man. I'm not here to pick up dates. I'm here to work on my health. So every week I get there's a different person. And look, hey, this is not to have a go at the NHS. They're doing a great job. Just this particular class at the York Physiotherapy. Every week I get this. So at the start, they're like, right, okay. So they ask the question, so what are you here for? I'm like, I've hurt my knee and it's, it's broken, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So we'll set you off with these stretches and do this on the bike. And I'm like, cool. Okay, cheers. Next week, they're like, what are you here for? Every week for 6 weeks, different guy. What are you here for? And then, so they keep giving me different stretches and stuff. But you know what? I'm just doing it and cracking on. Whilst on this list, that's what I was getting back to. So on this list, at the same time, that's what part of added to my funk was because I felt I can't play football. I've lost all that side of my life. And then I thought, right, what are sports I could get really good at that I could compete at, I could have fun at. And I was like, darts. It's Sabutio, literally. Sabutio was on there, tiddlywinks. No word of a lie. So I was like, we're spitballing.
Air hockey. Come on, air hockey.
Exactly. Literally. Table football. We're the ideas stage. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm going to be a really great darts player. I'm going to get really fun. I'm going to join darts club. And,
great.
But yeah, stand-up was on that list as well. So that's when I did my first stand-up comedy gig, which was to a load of students. My friends were there. So, it's a lovely, welcoming, receptive audience. You're never going to get a nicer one than that, laughing at stuff that just isn't funny.
Great.
Which is great. But I was really upset with it. I was like, because my ego, I don't know whether it's the ego or whether it's just, that feeling of when you're you finally bring up the courage to do something.
Yeah.
And because I knew the settings were so nice, I knew it was such a lovely crowd. I was wanting it to be this sort of second coming of Prior or something like that.
I know what you're saying. Like the Steve Martin thing of like, just carry you out on their on their shoulders to this like fucking this cult that you've just formed with this first gig. Oh my God, you're the best thing, and they just lift you up to the next stage of your comedy career. That's it. up to Avalon.
Yeah. There you go. Here's your boy. Sign him up. Yeah. But I thought that's what was going to happen. But what other happens was there was a lovely round of applause, and then I left, and then they gave the next guy a round of applause, and that was it. And
and
so
you're like with your microphone going, hang on, that was a few decibels higher than my rounds of applause.
Yeah, what's going on there?
Stealing my thunder. I fucking warmed him up for you.
Yeah, and then he comes off and they're like, enjoy it. He goes, yeah, you're welcome.
Or it's like, did you enjoy that?
Exactly,
hey, where's this coming from? Are these things just floating around?
What do you mean by that? Yeah, exactly.
That's great, mate. So that was your first gig then, right? Do you remember the date, the exact date? Do you have like a birth date?
I will have it I was writing a diary at the time. That was another thing I started to try and get myself out of this funk, was just trying to start writing down what I was thinking.
Right.
It was February sometime. It was probably early February 2014. But I'll have the date. I'll have the date somewhere because I'm such a psychopath. That's why I didn't go out there. My mates went out. They went on a night out and they were like, "You coming, mate?" And I was like, "No, I'm gonna go write in my diary. I'm gonna stay in and be moody and be like, did my first gig tonight, didn't go as well as I hoped."
Torturing myself. Maybe more comedy will come.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But the next day I was feeling really good about it. I was feeling a lot better. But as you say, just hoping to carry it out.
That's brilliant, man.
Have
Did
you
you
got
sleep?
a date for your first gig?
It's in July. It was in July. I think it's July 23rd. 2003. But I didn't gig consistently. I did about 30 gigs and then stopped. And then I went back to Ireland and then came back to the UK in 2011 when I started gigging consistently. But
that's when I'd say was because I remember the first time I met you. It was when I'd started, and I was early starting back in gigging in end of 2015 it would have been, and it was with Tony McGee in Cafe Mode downstairs. Andy Quirk was on as well.
Yeah.
I was doing a rap about being ginger. A rap about being ginger.
Great.
and you were at the back, I remember, and I was like, and you were doing 10 and I was doing 5, and I was like, man, this guy, like, serious shit this guy is. And I remember thinking like, yeah, god damn, this is the standard you got to get to now. And to be, as I recall, that was one of the, Cafe Mode.
I like that little gig. It was really nice to try stuff out in, man.
Yeah. But that was a really nice night. Of my limited experience. But I remember it was one of those where everyone did well. The crowd were really enthusiastic and up for it. And And there was a crowd, and there isn't always at these gigs.
That's true, man.
So yeah, I remember the first time.
Basement gig as well is what you want. It's like seedy, you down on the stairs. They feel like they're going to a different world, and then they can't escape as well. They got that tension of this might be a gig or a dungeon. I might not get. And there also was in that gig, there was an iron gate on the exit on the back as well, which made them even more tense, which was brilliant.
If you don't laugh, you're going in there. That was the thing at the start.
I mean, and also there was like pizza. You got paid in pizza as well, and there was pizzas on offer. So like, what they did basically was anesthetize the audience with pizza, and then like they were like sent down into this dungeon. So like they were like, oh my god, I'm getting roofied with pizza here. This is really fucking weird.
Yeah. That was they marketed the night as well. No, keep that in. That's the content people come for.
I don't subscribe to roofies or anything that said. I stopped
that subscription years ago.
Just going with it.
It was a strange one, but there's a lot of those going on, and when you're starting out, man, you're getting paid in pizza. You're like, this is the dream, man.
Damn, like goddamn 12-inch pizza. Okay, I'm going to innuendos now, but let's move on. Look, I'm just.
The sausage pizza, I assume.
This comedy. So it's like, I mean, like, just what was I say to you? Like, okay, right, we've done the highs and the fun, the coming up, man. Like, so what is the utter sadness, the worst gig? Is there one that just like every time you think of it, you can like, you just like the hairs on the back of your neck stick up, and you're just like, oh god damn.
I can remember it very vividly. Well, there's two, but there's one. The one that I think is the worst. And I can remember it, and every time this song comes on, I can remember it as well. But it was King Gong in the Comedy Store, and it was my first time trying it. Would have been October 2016. So I'd been gigging for about a year, and I thought, right, that was a good time, because people say like King Gong's like their first gig and stuff like that when you go to the Comedy Store and try out, because I think, and it happens with the Blackout as well, which is the other one that I'll talk about as well, but. Because I think you Google Open Mics London, and it's one you can get on really easily, because you just have to email them. They have 30 acts on every month. So they're like, and they no requirements, just come on, and you can even raise your hand and go on. So it was Halloween, and it was near Halloween. It was Halloween night, Monday, 31st of October 2016. There were 4 dudes, vividly I remember this, dressed as the Grim Reaper.
Oh no.
With a pitcher of beer under their chair. Not sharing a pitcher, they all had a pitcher each. Yeah. And they were there, and the MC talked to them. They were there for comedy deaths. That's why they were there. So they were a barrel of laughs. So obviously they got a card. So I go on, and you know what it's like, man. People are just getting gonged off. It's ruthless. People are pissed, savage. It's like, Tiny Tim could go on and get gonged off after 30 seconds. Not funny, too sad.
Yeah, even though he took like about 10 minutes to try and get onto the fucking stage, they're like, no.
Buzz him off. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I was at the end of the first half. I used to do this bit about having a fringe.
Right.
When I was a teenager, and I used to do this thing with my hand, and used to sort of I used to like pretend like I had the fringe, my hand was the fringe, and I used to get laughs. It was sort of silly comedy. I was surviving. Yeah. I got up to sort of a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Yeah, I was just surviving. But you know what it's like in those things when you're just like, I'm just getting by, and if the next joke isn't better, then I am off. Yeah. They are sort of going, right, give him one more, and they keep. And then I'm sort of just surviving. And then this guy at the back just shouts, "You stole that!" And I went, "What?" And he went, "That's Sean Locke." And I went, "No, it's not. Fuck off." But at that point, the audience are like, "Nah, fuck you, right? Because you stole material." Yeah. So I'm like, it's not. I try and do the next joke, but everyone is booing now. Yeah. Everyone hates me. 3 cards instantly. Yeah. And I'm just the dude who tried to steal Sean Locke's joke, who went on stage. Yeah. And so I leave immediately, man. None of that. I mean, fair play to the people who get gonged off at those shows and stay and watch the other acts. I'm leaving. I am out there as soon as I can. Yeah. I'm almost in tears. I put in my headphones. "Start Me Up" by Rolling Stones is the song that I will always remember. Mm-hmm. Whenever that song starts, I am outside the Comedy Store. I am looking down Leicester Square, and I'm just thinking, comedy shit. I'm shit. But what happened? So I went and looked, and Sean Locke, this thing on 8 out of 10 Cats, there's this clip of him talking about Justin Bieber and doing this thing with his hand. And I'm like, shit, it's It's that same thing. But I don't know whether I'd watched that when I was a teenager and thought, oh man, and it'd gone in there and I'd done it. Or whether it's parallel thinking or whatever. But I never did that bit again. Never did it again because I never want to experience that again. And the guy had done it already. So that was really bad.
It's really easy to do that, like unintentionally, because we're like sponges. We love comedy, so you absorb so much comedy, and then you're writing something, and sometimes you got to be really careful to not like regurgitate something. Go, oh hey, and is that mine? That's come to me way too easily.
Oh man, you ever feel like that, Winter, when you write a good one-liner or something, and you think, no way, that's mine.
Yeah, that's right. You just,
no way, I've not come up with that. And you Google it, and it's like, yep, that was done 9 years ago by this famous comedian.
That's right. As Ben Clover would say, finding your voice. That's what it's like, But it's like to find the thing that is you. I mean, okay, right, I ask this question to everyone that I speak to, right, who goes up there and does it, right? And just like, so look, when you go up there as a comedian, what do you feel yourself like as a job? I've had people say that they feel that they're like the first line support IT technician, right? So that's what they feel like. Just turn them on and off again, sort of thing. But if you have like a model of employment for comedy, like your model that you believe yourself, you go up there, what is it?
That's an interesting question, man. A unique one. I've never heard that before. I suppose so. What sort of job, as in like a normal corporate job?
Like anything. Like you kind of go, like some people go, I'm just a grafter, you're like a builder, or I mean, it could be anything you want. Anything.
Well, sometimes you feel like a cleaner because you,
right?
Because the gig is horrendous. Or the person before you, they hate them.
Yeah.
So you've got to go on and just basically not have a good gig yourself, but just try and reset the room. Or you get an MC who's just turned everyone off and just have you ever had those ones where like the MC goes like something like, right, well, you hate me, so let's get a comedian on. And you think, that's not how this works, man.
That's not good. Don't admit it. Don't admit it.
Exactly, just say, we're very excited to get this first one. Don't be like, well, look, if you don't hate, you're going to hate this next guy probably as well, right? So in he comes, Ali Woods.
Yeah, it's great. And I'm going to shake his hand as well. Or shake their hand, like shake their hand, and like. So there's Winter trying to be woke again. Shake the person's hand, and then introduce them on. But like, because then you're associated with them, right? So then they know each other. So then they're gonna think you're fucking awful as well because then you know each other. So you're part of the ilk, isn't it? You're just tarred with the same brush.
Yeah, someone dies and they go, right, he's a very good friend of mine. It's like, don't say that. Say you've never met me.
Who the fuck are you? That's it. So
sometimes it feels like a cleaner. I definitely say that. But when it's good, I don't know. It's sort of weird. It's like it's not feeling like it. I mean, sometimes it feels like you're the boss. You're the boss of the company, and you're announcing that everyone's getting a big bonus.
Right.
And everyone is happy, and they don't really know you. You don't really know them that well, and they're not indebted to you because. There's no reason for them to like you, but in this moment you are giving them the good news, and you are there being like, we made so much profit this year, everybody's getting extra time off, and everybody's getting an extra grand in their packet this year, and everyone's like, yes, and they're having a big party. Great. And so sometimes it feels, when it's good, it feels like that, I think.
So you're like the benevolent CEO of a company, kind of going, guys, we made some serious dividends this year, so like the shareholders are going to be very happy. So let's fucking celebrate. Here we go.
And the important thing is you're saying to them that everyone gets to join in on this. They're all getting money off of it. They're all getting a pay pack. That when everyone, those things like when a crowd or a group hears good news and people turn to each other and go, fucking, can you believe this? I mean, like that joy is probably that's the most sort of corporate environment I'd say that'd probably be akin to.
That's great, man. So you're like, you're making fun of a corporate then, which is like, oh, okay, the funnest corporate. Every gig's a corporate, right? Have you done corporates as well?
Oh, yeah, a few times. Not loads, to be honest. A few of them. And man, they can be. I've not felt like I've had really the high pressure ones so far, thankfully, because mine have been fairly low stakes. Yeah. But man.
What was the company? You don't have to tell the name, but what's the type of company you had to do?
You know what? I did an online gig. Get this right. I did an online gig Christmas to a company that deals with private medical insurance, private medical healthcare. And it was just to the senior people.
Nice. Right.
I mean, and I said that to them as well. I was like, yeah, don't need to invite the workers. They'll be all right. You know, it's just, it's good that you guys get to have a good laugh and stuff like that. And
just the bosses, like, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, but it was one of those where I was like, oh, tough year for everyone in business. Obviously not you guys. Healthcare's been pretty important this year.
Yeah, that's great. You guys are literally smashing it this year.
Yeah, you guys are raking it in.
This I mean, you should like start fucking roasting them because, like, guys, I really think I should be getting bigger fees since the amount of private health insurance you're creaming off the top right now. That's great.
In my day job, man. So I still work a day job. But I'm very lucky that it's, you know, it's part time. But back, you know, I've been there for years. You know, a few years ago, I remember seeing Jack Whitehall do a corporate, basically I was at the corporate. I was in the audience for his corporate, and it was fascinating to see what he did an hour. So it was fascinating to see what sort of stuff he did, and like that was, I think, a really good learning experience. Because obviously, I mean, he's a celebrity, so there is already this excitement of, we've got Jack Whitehall. Let's take a picture of us having Jack Whitehall, and then it doesn't really matter how well he does. You know what I mean?
Totally.
It's just like, Totally. So there was a bit of that, but I definitely learned off what he did or tried to learn off what he did, and just in these corporates, you know what it's like. People just love you taking the piss out of the most senior person in the room. Like that is such a big part of it, and you've just got to do it tastefully, and that's all. You know, you can't obviously go too far, but you just say who's the boss. And then just say, like, drinks on you, and, you know, and especially with the Zoom now, you know, you just say, oh, look, you've got the nicest background, doing pretty well for yourself and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, nice.
And because it's that thing of people just love, like, because they don't get to do that. So the comedian gets to do that. And also, you know, if there's any office dramas and stuff like that, or any office stuff, they just want to laugh at themselves, man. As soon as you start going into, anyway, so my mum, they switch off.
I'd say this, right? The first corporate I ever did, right, was in Eastbourne for a paper company. Ripped it. No, I didn't. I did not. I was like, I had to do this. I did like half an hour, and I had to go do a recce down there. And so went down, did the recce. It was fine. I had about maybe 10 minutes on, like, this is when I was really, really green. Like, and I was like, okay, I got 10 minutes on you guys. I've got about that. So, and then went up to do this gig, and it wasn't in a proper room. I mean, the Zoom thing must be an absolute gift. You can do it from home, and they're looking at you at least. You know, they're kind of engaged. But like, this gig was at this top of this stairwell in the Grand Hotel in Eastbourne, and there was no
top of the
focal
stairs.
point.
Sorry, you were at the top. You were wow.
There was no focal point, mate. I was surrounded, man. I was just like, oh well, I'm fucked now. That's it. I managed to roast them for 10 minutes. After the 10 minutes, I was running empty on their stuff. So I literally said out loud, right, that's enough about you. Let's talk about me. And then weirdly, for the next 20 minutes, it didn't go great. I don't know why. I was so confused. I was like, I don't know what. I mean, if you could give me some tips, it'd be great. Because my self-awareness was so terrible at that stage. I was like, oh my God, come on.
But also, that's when you're starting out, man. You've got so little material that is great. Like, that's the thing. You have material that goes well sometimes, but that's the difference between the real top pros, is they've got material that will work, and it doesn't have to smash, but it will always work. It will always get something. And when you're starting out, you've not got any of that. You've not got any of that for years. You know, I still feel like I got to these places and I feel like I don't have any of it, but that is it. And these corporates, they just want to hear about themselves, and that's why you got to MC as much as possible. And I think, you know, it doesn't suit everyone, but if you can, it just gives you those survival skills. Definitely. To not rely that your material has to be work, because sometimes it's not even that it's not working, it's not being heard, as you're saying on the stairwell. So what's the point? It just gives you that ability to be a bit more dexterous on stage and chat with people, and you can, I love that feeling, you know, when you're chatting away and it's going well, and your phone, your watch buzzes or whatever, and you're like, oh grand, I've like almost finished, I've not even had to do any of my material, like I can just close on the strongest thing and then go. It's a great feeling.
That's it, man. And like, okay, right, we'll go back to your first gig. What was your first joke you wrote?
It's tough, man. At that gig, I remember I had, get this right, I was pretty original, So
right.
I was doing jokes about Tinder. You heard of it?
Right.
I remember I did a bit on my Tinder profile. The observation was my Tinder profile wasn't getting many matches in London, but it was in Scotland. Right. And so I put up my main image and was like, this is what Scottish people like. And it was quite a silly image. Yeah. Oh, what else did I have? I talked about my grandpa. You know, this is You wonder why they didn't carry me out of that gig, Winter. I can't remember. I can't even remember any jokes. It's only one joke that has come back into my set.
Oh, right.
Which was weird. I remember talking. I said something about I was sitting with my grandpa, watching Gold, the TV channel, not just a pile of money, just him sitting.
Not just your inheritance.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it was like. Just looking.
It's like, come on, Granddad, get the fuck out of here. This is fucking mine.
Exactly. Yeah, just looking, and then him just turning to me and being like, you're not getting any of that. I'm going to be buried like a pharaoh. And that was so. That's actually fun because I started talking about because my grandpa passed away unfortunately last year. Well, about 19 actually now, a year and a half ago. But peacefully he was dementia at that point. But
how old was he?
Oh, 87. Yeah, he'd been around for a while. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I was fairly close with him, and so that sort of came back in. I remember that, and I remember the Tinder bit, but I'm struggling to remember anything else really. I remember writing a joke because I wrote one-liners, but never performed them. I sent some to Tim Vine.
Oh yeah.
Because I thought he'll like these, and I sent some to Jimmy Carr. I never heard back from either of them. Yeah. Funnily enough, I then bumped into Tim Vine at the Edinburgh Festival a couple of years ago, coming out of Masioki. Yeah. And I was drunk and he was drunk, and I just went, Tim Vine, you're great, man. And he was like, oh, thank you. Yeah. you know these famous people get great. That's not what they want to. even when you're giving them compliments, they're still like, God, it's a crazy person. Yeah,
paranoia shit. Oh, you stab me.
Yeah, exactly. And I took the opportunity in my drunken stage to be like, hey man, I sent you some one-liners like nice. 7 years ago. Did you ever read them? Read them? And he was like, very nice. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get to everyone. But apologies, and I hope you're doing well and all that sort of stuff. Great. And I was like, no worries, man, it's all good. Yeah. But a one-liner, I thought, this is a classic thing. I thought, oh, this is really clever and funny. I've got a friend who lives in North Korea. I asked him, how is it? He said, can't complain. And I thought, that's brilliant. And then I sent that to my mate, and he was like, yeah, this joke's been written by about 6 comedians who have all done it. And I was like, well, that's the game.
That's it, mate. That's it.
Honestly, I wish it was recorded, man. I recently rewatched not one of my first gigs, but it was sort of about 6 months into gigging in London. And I rewatched that for something, I've forgotten what.
Pain.
For pain, yeah, because I thought, I'm feeling a bit too good about myself today. So I thought I'll stick that on. Yeah. One of my first jokes that sort of stuck in my set was about an advert that said, Milton Keynes closer than you think. And I thought, that sounds really ominous and scary. Yeah. And then I thought, what other things have Milton Keynes thrown out? I was like, Milton Keynes where no one can hear you scream. And that was sort of where what that joke was. And I remember that was one of my first jokes that I wrote and thought, that could be a bit. That could be a bit. Obviously, it hasn't lasted long. But
nice. So we've done the worst one, done the best one. When you did the improv, right? You were doing lit, like English lit. I mean, that must have slingshotted you into like, well, I can go up on the stage and be funny without anything now.
This was the problem, Winter. You know why I can't remember these jokes when I was starting out? It's because I didn't have any. Because I thought, wait, hey, man, look, I do improv, right? Yeah. I don't even have any material, and I go up and make people laugh. So I'll write down like maybe a couple bullet points, just riff, riff around these. Don't even need it. And I'd go up and die. I'd go up and bomb. And you mentioned him, Ben Clover, as another great comedian. I remember doing a gig with him, and it was a dead open mic. And I had the Evening Standard on the way to the gig. I was reading on the tube, and I was like, I'll just find some funny news. You know when it's like the best comedians don't do that because they're like, obviously I wouldn't just riff fucking ages on something new. But when you're starting out, you're like, I'll just fucking riff, man. I don't give a shit. I'm just a cool guy. And whales had swam out to shore accidentally and died. And I was like, this is hilarious. So I was like, these whales, man, do you ever think like, why don't you just stop swimming? Like, you've already reached the shore. Like, when's the point where they're like, hey, man, we should probably turn back? And then that got nothing. So instead of stopping, which is what a sane person would do, I was like, maybe I should just do this for the last 4 minutes of my 5 minute set. So I just said, and then I was doing like whale impressions, and I was like, hey man, like, and I was like, Gary, it's getting a bit sandy, isn't it? I don't know, Steve, maybe we should keep nothing. And it's one of those ones where they hate you not just because you're not funny, but also because you're like, hey, stop taking the piss out of dead whales, man. That's it. And then Ben Clover came on afterwards and he was just made a joke about it and then got everyone on side again about like how bad that was. So I remember that video.
That's funny, man. But I love that sheer like confidence in yourself of just like, I'm gonna there's something gonna become out of this. And there's no self-awareness. I've seen videos of myself do that kind of stuff as well, when you kind of go, you're just so happy to be there at the beginning that it doesn't really matter what the fuck is going on with the audience, isn't it? It's like, look, this is for me. This is it.
It's so true. New people always run over. That's the thing. If you run a gig, new people always run over, man. Totally. They'll always do longer. They'll always try and win them back because they haven't learned that sometimes you got to just get your set tight, and if it's not working, just get off. Like if you do your time and get off, man. Like, because there's always this thinking of, well, if I keep talking, I'll win them back. And it's like, when you start out, it just won't work, man. Just work on trying to be as funny as you can in that 5-minute period before you start doing 10 minutes.
That's right. And like, how many shows you done then, Ali? Have you done like a few Fringe shows?
Fringe. Well, so I was supposed to do my debut sort of solo hour in 2020, so that didn't happen. So I've never done a full hour that wasn't like a preview of work in progress thing. So I done Edinburgh for years in a row. So my first one was 2013. I was doing a sketch show with uni. Yeah. And doing a bit of improv as well, but mainly doing the sketch show. 2014, I was doing improv. So for those 2 years, I was there for the full month. 2015, 2016, and 2017, I was there for a couple of weeks. 2015, I was doing improv, and 2016, 17, I was doing like stand-up showcases and just going around flitting around as well and just trying to get some gigs.
Yeah, but like that's great, man. Just having like, you know, you're mixing up a bit as well, not just going straight stand-up, doing improv as well, just kind of keeping those skills sharp, you know. It helps with writing.
It's so true, man. And that's what's good about Edinburgh, is you can just do like 8 gigs in a day and just bang out something that would have taken you a month. There's a few times in my life where I've thought, man, I want to be a comedian. Like, this is what I want to do. And one of them was in Edinburgh 2017. I was flyering for our show, and work was quite busy. My day job was quite busy at that time, and I was just doing that there. And you know, I'm using my holiday to be there 2 weeks, and I was just thinking, like, this is what I want to do. I want to, even it wasn't even on stage. It was flying. I was like, I want to be in a situation when and this is before the antibacterial flowering I'm doing now, but this is, I want to be in a situation where I wake up in the day and all I have to think about is like, all right, how am I going to do comedy better today? That's all I want.
That's great, man.
I don't want to think, all right, I've got this day at work, then I've got to get my head into this gig. I just want to think, man, let's work on some comedy stuff. And I thought, right. And that's when I decided I'm going to come up for a month next year.
Right.
And so I was like, I've got to talk to my work about that.
That's good, man. And what's the name of your show that you were going to come up to Edinburgh with?
It's called Triangle. So pretty descriptive. It was sort of to do with being a different person at times. So composed of sort of 3 people, and also that related to a sort of love triangle I was sort of involved in.
Cool.
So that was what that show was. But who knows what it would be now. I'm still keen to do a full show, as any comedian would be. And some of the previews I did were magic. You know, some of them were god awful as well. Don't get me wrong, but some of them it's a different feeling. You know, you have the comedy club feeling of when you go on, do well, leave, someone else comes on, does well or not, whatever. But you just think that's more like gladiatorial, and that's more like, I performed today. That's like a sportsman. Just like, I had a good game. Had a good game today. Smashed it. But when you do well and and the show is just you, then you just feel like, oh man, I really like connected, and I feel like they go away knowing more about me as well as having enjoyed it. So that's good.
It's just postponed, isn't it? You're going to take it up again another year and that's it, man. Just
that's the hope. That's the hope, man.
Ali, I know that we're going to finish at 8, so I just want to say, look, man, thanks for coming on the Comedy Defect, man, and it's been a pleasure to talk to you and catch up with you for the last hour or so. And like you've been doing, so you're on the
All I Do Is Fail.
All I Do Is Fail, right?
So AIDIF Pod, AIDIF Pod on any social media. But All I Do Is Fail. Yeah, that's the podcast we got going on. Me and another funny comedian, Tom Elwes. Yeah. We do have in the back catalogue. The premise originally was that we'd get comedians on to talk about times that they failed that hadn't gone well for them. Normally they'd have one in their life and one in comedy, and we keep it lighthearted to talk about, you know, failures doesn't define you and all that sort of stuff and how you bounce back. Great. But now it has become, since the pandemic, just me and Tom catching up throughout the week. And we have fail mail, a section where listeners send in their fails related to a particular topic, and we read through those. And so, yeah, if you like that sort of idea of just like a fun listen for sort of 30 to 40 minutes every week, then just check that out. All I do is fail.
Sounds great, man. Just keeps you through this situation at the moment we're in. That's brilliant, man. So what's your Twitter and all that stuff?
Oh yeah, Ali Woods Gigs on any social media. ALIWOODSGIGS, Ali Woods Gigs. You'll find me on anything like that. Even TikTok, man. I've bitten the bullet. I'm on TikTok, posting some videos. I feel older by the second when I'm on there, but there you go.
Totally. Ali, well, thanks for coming on, man. It's been a pleasure. Good to catch up, man.
The pleasure's all mine, Winter. Thank you so much for having me on. It's been really great. I'm sorry for prattling for so long, but it's been really, really great. Thank you so much.
Isn't that what podcasts are for?
yeah, it's supposed to be interesting and funny. Not when I'm chatting about my broken leg.
Mate, it's great. I love it. Pain. It's all about pain, mate. This is going to the fringe shows. That's what it's about, right?
But genuinely, man, it's great. It's great to hear your voice, bro.
Yeah,
and
likewise,
hopefully we can gig together again sometime soon.
Yeah, fingers crossed, man. When I've started a few gigs up in Hertfordshire, when it all thaws, I could be starting straight back up again. I get you down, man. I look forward to it.
Yes, man. Looking good. I look forward to it, bro.
And that was Ali Woods for episode 100 of the Comedy Defect podcast. You can find Ali on all the socials as @AliWoodsGigs. He also does a podcast with Tom Elwes called All I Do Is Fail. And he's also doing his debut hour at the Fringe, the Edinburgh Fringe this year, called Best Friend Ever. That's from the 3rd to the 29th of August in the Underbelly. So go and check that out. It's his debut hour. It's going to be excellent. I wish him all the best. He's an excellent comic and a really lovely fella too. As I say, he did my gig in Hemel and he opened. He could have easily closed it. He's been doing some great gigs. He's been on the bill with some excellent comedians, and best of luck to him. I hope he does a great Edinburgh run in 2022. I say you can follow him on all the socials as @AliWoodsGigs. Go and check him out. Put that on your list to go see in Edinburgh. If I was up this year, I would definitely go and see that. You can also follow me. I'm on Twitter @WinterDominus. I say I deleted my Twitter account and then restarted again because I want to just start from ground zero. And it certainly has stayed at ground zero. So if you want to follow me there on Twitter, you're welcome to. But I'm more active on Instagram. And I've been doing some stuff recently, sort of like more stuntman stuff, which is really fun. But that's just a bit extra. But I want to do the fun things this year. Still writing comedy, still doing comedy, but I just want to do a little bit more fun stuff to see what else the body can do. You want to just test your limits, right? Push it to the limit, yeah? Don't specialize. Multitask. And that's it for this episode 100 with Ali Woods. Really lovely fella, a great comedian. I hope his Edinburgh run goes well. The next episode we got is episode 101 with another excellent comic also going to Edinburgh with her, I think, debut hour called No Brainer. It is Nicole Harris. So go check her out. Go find her on all the socials. Go find her videos. She's absolutely lovely. She's got such a warm energy when she's on stage, and she's very funny. She does a lot of improv. She's really, really funny. Spent another hour with her. That is for next month, which is the end of August. That's it for episode 100. Enjoy your lives. Enjoy your August. Go on holiday. Have some barbecues. And I will see you at the end of it. Take care.